Let's jump right into today's explainer, where we're tackling a massive tug of war in modern web development. You know the drill, right? You want powerful features, but you also desperately need ultimate efficiency. And look, if you spend any time building on the web, you already know your choice of JavaScript library completely dictates your app's performance. For years, we've basically defaulted to one major player. But today we're shaking things up. We're exploring a seriously lightweight alternative to see if its data and performance metrics actually hold up. We're diving deep into the Preact advantage, and we're going to figure out if this might just be the absolute perfect tool for your next build. So let's start with a really honest question. Is your React app just too heavy? It's a massive pain point we all share, isn't it? You kick off a project, you're absolutely loving the component-based architecture, the rapid development, and then bam! Suddenly, your bundle size is absolutely gigantic. You test the initial load time on a mobile device, and it's practically crawling. Your users are just sitting there staring at a blank screen, waiting for all that JavaScript to parse. It's incredibly frustrating to build this beautiful, dynamic app, only to have its sheer weight completely bog down the actual user experience. 3 kilobytes. 3. That's the zipped size of the library we're looking at today. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. We are talking about a true David going up against the Goliath of heavy core libraries we've gotten so used to. When every single kilobyte you send over the wire is costing you user attention, dropping your core library size all the way down to 3 kilobytes, that isn't just a minor optimization, no way. It represents a total, fundamental shift in how fast your application can become interactive.
Let's look at React's heavy footprint.
Now, hey, we absolutely have to give credit where it's due. React has gained total dominance for a very good reason. Its ecosystem is wildly robust. Its component architecture literally changed the game, and developers naturally love it. But that dominance comes with a pretty serious footprint. The core library plus the dev tools you need just to run it can get really hefty. The source material hits the nail on the head with this quote, highlighting that as apps grow, developers want lighter alternatives to boost performance without sacrificing functionality. We want to shed that excess weight, but we absolutely refuse to give up the powerful tools we rely on to build complex interfaces. We want the familiar experience, just, without all the baggage. So, let's officially meet Preact. Here's the beauty of it. Preact isn't trying to force you to learn some completely new way of building user interfaces. Instead, it acts like a hyper-efficient mirror. It gives you that lightning-fast 3 KB alternative, but it deliberately mirrors React's modern API. It keeps the exact same component-based architecture you're already used to, and yes, it still uses a virtual DOM. For us developers, this is huge. It means you don't have to throw away your hard-earned knowledge or start from scratch. You get that incredibly familiar experience, but stripped all the way down to its absolute fastest, most essential core.
Which brings us to the performance edge.
So how fast are we actually talking here? Well, when we put the two side by side, the difference is pretty wild. On one hand, you have React's hefty core library and its associated tools. And on the other, Preact's ultra-lightweight 3 kilobyte footprint. Why are we obsessing over this size? Because in performance-sensitive environments, literally every single kilobyte matters. The smaller the bundle, the faster the browser can download it, parse it, and execute it. It's just simple web physics, right? Less code equals way less waiting. Let's break down exactly how this plays out across a few key performance vectors. First up, faster load times. Because of that tiny size, mobile users, especially those on limited networks, get a massively enhanced experience, which directly decreases your bounce rates. I mean, if they don't have to wait, they don't leave. Next, we've got efficient DOM updates. Preact uses a super finely tuned diffing algorithm on its virtual DOM. Basically, it calculates exactly what changed and only updates those specific parts, guaranteeing really snappy UI rendering. And finally, reduced memory usage. By keeping a leaner architecture under the hood, it uses way less memory than its heavier counterpart. So if your users are on older phones or resource-limited devices, your app stays fluid and responsive instead of just straight-up crashing.
Moving on to compatibility and the broader ecosystem.
Now, you might be sitting there wondering, okay, but what is this going to break in my current setup? And honestly, that is exactly the right question to ask. But you can breathe a sigh of relief. Because Preact was intentionally built to mirror the React API, the transition is incredibly seamless. In fact, most of your existing React components can just be dropped right into a Preact project with little to absolutely no modification. Libraries and tools you already use often work straight out of the box, or at worst, they just need a tiny tweak. You really aren't abandoning the ecosystem you've come to rely on. And for those tricky times when things aren't perfectly seamless right away, Preact has this brilliantly engineered bridge called Preact Compat. Basically, this is a dedicated compatibility layer. Think of it like a translator. It tricks complex React-specific code and third-party libraries into thinking they're running inside React when they're actually running in Preact. This completely de-risks the transition if you've got a massive project with a bunch of legacy code. You just alias React to Preact compat in your bundler, and boom, suddenly your massive, complex ecosystem tools are playing super nicely with your shiny new 3 KB core.
Let's talk about the perfect use cases.
So, where exactly should you be deploying this today? Well, here are a few actionable, real-world spots where Preact's fast rendering and quick loading times are a perfect match. First, progressive web apps, or PWAs. They aim for native-like speed on the web, and Preact's size makes that a reality. Then think about static sites that need rapid time-to-interactive metrics. When you want server-rendered pages to wake up instantly on the client side, Preact reduces that overhead beautifully. It's also great for content-heavy applications. Even if you have complex dynamic displays, Preact's efficient DOM handling ensures the content shifts swiftly without any of that annoying stuttering. And finally, mobile-first applications. When a minimal footprint is your absolute top priority, like when your users are stuck on 3G connections, Preact just makes a ton of sense.
Now let's look at the trade-offs.
We have to be totally objective here, right? There is no such thing as a free lunch in software engineering. If you're planning a large-scale application, you really need to weigh these factors. Natively, Preact does have a smaller overall ecosystem compared to React. While it's highly compatible, it isn't an exact one-to-one clone. Because of that, some really specific or complex third-party tools might require manual tweaks to work properly. And here is the big one you need to watch out for. If you rely heavily on Preact compat to make everything work, you are adding weight right back into your app. That compatibility layer increases your overall bundle size, which kind of partially offsets the very 3 KB performance benefit you adopted Preact for in the first place. So it's definitely a delicate balancing act.
Which leaves us with one final, vital question to end our explainer today. Are the performance gains actually worth the ecosystem trade-offs for your next project? There's no universal right answer here. It entirely depends on your specific users, your code base, and your speed requirements. Look, if you're building a massive enterprise dashboard where bundle size isn't really the primary bottleneck, then yeah, maybe stick to the giant React ecosystem. But if you're building a mobile-first app, a lightning-fast static site, or a PWA where literally every single millisecond counts, well, Preact might just be the lightweight superpower you've been looking for. Take a look at your own metrics this week and see if shedding a little weight is the right move for you.